for another day of the week. Welcome to the Friday edition of Chasing That Paper, presented by VegasInsider.com. And let's throw it to my co-host here, Iain MacMillan, for some opening remarks. Iain, the floor is yours.
Hello, everyone. Welcome to this today's episode of Chasing That Paper. We got the back end of the Sweet 16 we're going to break down. We're going to talk some Entourage. We're going to talk some Toronto Blue Jays. Get ready. Big show ahead of us today.
Oh, yeah. I didn't even prepare Iain for that. That was a bit of a surprise. And, wow.
I'm a
handled
professional.
that very well for being extremely hungover.
Yes.
I must say, Iain hit the town hard last night, but he is here to fulfill his duties as the Friday co-host on Chasing That Paper. So, yeah, Sweet 16, NBA, NHL, Blue Jays season preview. We're going to be as unbiased as we can, and we're going to follow up on a little conversation we had yesterday about our favorite TV shows. Discuss the show Entourage for a little bit. So let's get right into that action. I'm going to get us started here. Xavier, Texas, getting after it here tonight. Some Sweet 16 action. This game has a total of 149.5. Give me the under in this one. Here's why I like this one. So a 7-game under tear for Texas here. 7 straight unders. Average combined score just 132.4. The three-point shot isn't a big part of either team's attack, so don't expect an avalanche of threes to push the total over in this one. 200 and 290th in three-point attempts per game for these squads. So both teams prefer to do the bulk of their scoring in close, which is great because each plays respectable, not great, but respectable defense in close, with each ranking in the top 25% in the nation in opponent two-point shot percentage. Add it all up, we got ourselves a great recipe for an under. All right, Iain, what are you looking at next?
Yeah, I'm going to start off with the first game in the Sweet 16 tonight. It is Alabama. It is San Diego State, and I will lay the points with the Crimson Tide in this one because let's not forget, people, who San Diego State is. They are a team from the Mountain West. Let's stick to our pre-tournament belief that we should be fading Mountain West teams. They went 0-4 in the tournament in 2021. They went 0-4 in the tournament in 2022. 3 teams from the Mountain West lost in the opening round this year, and San Diego State defeated College of Charleston and then Furman. I'm sorry, but wins against those 2 teams don't exactly make me believe that you can hang with the big dogs, which is important because tonight they take on a big dog in the true number 1 seed in the country, the Alabama Crimson Tide. Let's look at some shooting numbers here. Alabama 66th in the country in effective field goal percentage. San Diego State 200th, which is going to hurt them because now they have to go against the number 1 team in shooting defense and opponent effective field goal percentage in the country. Alabama comes in at first. So already you're a bad shooting team, and now you take on the best shooting defense in the country. That's a recipe for disaster. Give me Alabama, -7.5.
All right, over to the NBA for the next one. The game of the night here in the NBA, we got the Sixers and Golden State taking on the Warriors. A spread of 5.5 points. Give me the dog. Ho, ho, ho. Philadelphia 76ers plus 5.5. So at the time of this recording, both Harden and Embiid are questionable. Embiid on the likely side of things to play, though. You take a look at those Sixers. Great on both ends of the court. First in EFG percentage over the last 10 games. Also 5th in opponent EFG percentage in this span. We all know the Warriors like to jack up those threes. Well, Philly is great at defending the three-point shot. Number 2 in opponent three-point percentage in that 10-game sample size. Warriors 28th in three-point defense in this span. And guess who the number 1 three-point offense is in this span? That's right, goddammit! It is the Philadelphia 76ers. The Warriors playing some very sloppy basketball right now. 29th in turnover percentage over the last 10 games. That has resulted in a lot of points off turnovers. They also allow a lot of second chance points. Give me the Sixers plus 5.5. Maybe a nice little discount on them here tonight in Golden State. Back to Iain, back to college hoops. What do we got next?
Next up, it is Houston. It is Miami. I'm going to go against producer Tito's Miami Hurricanes. Give me The Houston Cougars, minus 7.5. Another 7.5 point favorite here. I think they win and cover. Oh, he's giving me the boo. This is a style. I'm sorry, Tito. This is a stylistic nightmare for the Miami Hurricanes. They have some of the best guards in the country, but not only can Houston match them with their guard play, they can absolutely destroy them down low. They have the size and the length to crush a Miami team that's one of the worst interior defenses in the country. Both teams shoot the two ball quite a bit, and now Miami has to go up against a Houston defense that's third in the country, an opponent to 2-point field goal percentage. And also a huge rebounding advantage for Houston, specifically offensive rebounds, fourth in the country in offensive rebounding, and now they get to take on a Miami team that is 157th in defensive rebounding. So I expect Houston to create a lot of extra scoring chances tonight. And also the Cougars, with Tennessee gone last night, they are now the best defensive team left in the country. Does defense win championships? I don't know. Maybe not for Tennessee, but I think it can for Houston. I think they're going to smother this Miami team, and I think they win with margin tonight. Give me the Cougars, minus 7.5.
That is blasphemous.
All right, back to the NBA for a game that nobody cares about unless you're betting on it. I'm talking about the Bulls in Portland to take on the Trailblazers. I'm going to take the Bulls to cover the spread, and this one coming in at minus 2.5 points. So you dig into the numbers. Chicago has been better almost everywhere. Over the last 10 games, they're shooting it better, turning it over less, grabbing more offensive rebounds, playing better defense, allowing fewer free throws, defending the paint much better as well. Consecutive covers are rare for Portland here. They picked up a win and a cover in their last time out, but we're not seeing many back-to-back good performances from them as they've covered in 2 straight just once over the last 20 games. Bulls, meanwhile, they're coming off a loss, and they're responding after a loss here lately. 4-1 in their last 5 games after a loss. And quite simply, fade the Blazers as an underdog. 5-18 against the spread in their last 23 games as an underdog. They've been on the wrong end of many ass kickings in these games. So, give me the Bulls, minus 2.5. Ian, your final pick for the show today. What do we got?
Yeah, it is the other Sweet 16 game that we haven't talked about yet. It is Creighton, it is Princeton, and I will once again lay the points. 3 Sweet 16 picks for me for tonight, and I am backing the favorite in every single one of them. What could possibly go wrong? Give me the Blue Jays, minus 9.5 against the Princeton Tigers. Princeton was able to out-rebound Missouri in their last game, and that was their path to victory. They dominated them on the boards. They out-rebounded them 44-30. They grabbed 16 offensive rebounds. But that makes sense because Missouri was a bottom 5 team in the country in rebounding. Princeton will not be able to out-rebound Creighton, who was 27th in the country in rebounding rate, and they have a 7'1" center. So don't expect the Tigers to out-rebound, especially not by the amount that they out-rebound in Missouri. And the Blue Jays are just a better team in all areas. You look at effective field goal percentage. You got Princeton at 85th. You got Creighton at 27th. No matter what area you want to look at, I mean, I could list the stats all day, but Creighton is the much better team, and they faced much better teams, much better competition than Princeton, who played in the Ivy League. Let's remember who Princeton is. Do not get seduced by the Cinderella run. I know your heart might want to back Princeton, but don't do it with your money. This is an Ivy League team. They're a 15 seed for a reason. They had a couple of good games in the first 2 rounds. They had a very good stylistic advantage against Missouri. The Cinderella run ends tonight, and I think it ends in an ugly fashion. Give me the Blue Jays to win by double digits.
All right, we're going to wrap things up on the ice. It is the game of the week across all sports. Of course, I'm talking about the Blue Jackets playing host to the New York Islanders tonight in beautiful Columbus, Ohio. This game has a total of 6, and I absolutely love the over going off at minus 115 over at BetMGM this morning. Use the code VIBONUS. So check out the Jackets all offense but dog shit defense. Top 7 in expected goals 4, high danger chances 4, and shots for the last 10 games. But dead last in all 3 of these categories on the defensive end in that span. Just brutal goaltending for Columbus. It doesn't matter who they got between the pipes. It looks like Michael Hutchinson We'll get the call tonight. The 33-year-old Barrie, Ontario native is the owner of a 4.17 goals against average and an .875 save percentage on the season. The opponent has scored 5 or more in 5 of his 6 appearances this season, some of those appearances in relief. And the Islanders, 17 goals in their last 3 games. This game sets up very well for their red-hot offense. I like over 6 between the Jackets and the Islanders. Yeah. Blue Jackets. The Blue Jackets got to be the most irrelevant franchise in the top 4 North American pro sports. Do you agree with that? The Columbus Blue Jackets?
No, I don't agree with that. The most irrelevant franchise in the 4 major sports?
Well, hockey, we hate to admit it, but hockey would be the most irrelevant out of the 4.
That's true.
And the Blue Jackets, I think, I mean, you could, the Arizona Coyotes, you could throw in there.
I would say the Coyotes. I mean, they played at a college. They played a college rink that holds like 10,000 people.
Yeah. You know, I find it interesting, Ian. Nobody in the betting space is talking about how I'm 6-1 with my March Madness pick so far.
Wow.
I don't know why this isn't a bigger topic.
Could be.
But yeah.
The handicapper heat check for today. Joe Osborne. He's 6-1 in his last 7 NCAA basketball bets.
Going with the low volume's been working for me, guys. If you're watching on YouTube right now, you know what I'm going to say if you watch the show, and I hope you're doing it for us. Hit that like button right down there. Hit that subscribe button. We should have a lot more likes on the show. We're getting like 800 views, and someday we only have like 30, 35 likes. Do me a favor. It takes a couple seconds to hit that like button. Boost our engagement up. Guys, so if you're looking to place any bets here this weekend, I recommend placing those bets over at BetMGM, and we got a great bonus you can take advantage of. Sign up with BetMGM. Use the promo code VIBonus1100, and you will get up to $1,100 paid back in bonus bets if your first bet does not win. That's VIBonus1100, all one word, no spaces, for a first bet offer of $1,100 paid back in bonus bets. If you don't win, just use that code VIBonus1100. Visit BetMGM.com for terms and conditions. You must be 21 years or older to wager. Offers for new customers only. BetMGM, the king of sports books. Yeah! All right, Ian and I are going to give an unbiased as we can. Like, we probably didn't plan this. We could have planned it better. Both showing up in our Blue Jays gear. We both got Blue Jays paraphernalia, memorabilia, whatever you want to call it, on the walls here behind us. So, yeah, we're both big fans of the Blue Jays, but I do think that we are realistic Blue Jays fans after the way they went out last season. So it was a strong regular season for the Jays last year, 92-70. Especially strong in the second half after they fired their manager. They went 18-10 in September. But it all came crashing down with the biggest choke in franchise history. This was hard to watch. I watched this with my son, who I'm trying to get to become. He is a Blue Jays fan. He didn't quite understand the magnitude of the choke, but they blew an 8-1 lead at home in the wild card round versus Seattle Mariners. And that's how their season ended. But they come into this season expectations relatively high here. So let's take a look at their betting odds entering 2023 here. The Blue Jays betting outlook. So 13-1 to win the World Series, right up there near the top of the odds board. We picked, this might have been my mistake. They're actually American League, plus 650. We should have taken a closer look at this before we went to air here. You know what it means though. AL East plus 210, over under wins 91.5. They finished with 92 last season. And those to make the playoff bets, you know, you're not going to find a lot of value on a team like the Blue Jays. If you're betting against them, okay, you're going to get some plus, but minus 240. So, I mean, it's hard not to like the Blue Jays coming into the season. We're going to expect them to get into the playoffs here. It's just about how are you going to perform once you get into the playoffs. You know, they got into the playoffs in the COVID year versus the Rays. not much was expected from them in that series, and we didn't get much. I think they got swept in a 3-game series. And last season, the most epic choke in team history. So who knows how that could impact them if that would carry over to the playoffs this year. But you look at this team, they're absolutely stacked. This is going to be one of, if not the best offenses in baseball. They added a couple of left-handed bats, which they desperately needed. They got a rock-solid starting rotation, especially with the addition of Chris Bassett. We'll see if Jose Barrios can figure his shit out. But a pretty solid 1-2 at the top of their rotation. And Jordan Romano, a rock-solid closer there as well. So, yeah, I expect the Blue Jays to get into the playoffs. They got to take a step forward here. I expect them to at least win a series in the playoffs. But, maybe this is the year they get into the World Series, at least. This is still a really young team, which is something I'm going to get to in a moment. But, yeah, I think the Blue Jays can at least make it to the World Series this year. Ian, what do you think? You think they're moving in the right direction here? Do you think we take a step back after that collapse last season?
I think we'll have a very similar season. Obviously, all of our questions comes down to the starting rotation, the back end of the starting rotation. We got Alek Manoah, Kevin Gausman, who's arguably the best 1-2 in the AL. But then you got the back end of the rotation, which is what killed us last year. Jose Barrios, Chris Bassett, Kikuchi.
Bassett's good.
He's
Kikuchi
fine.
He had a really good spring. Kikuchi had a really good spring, but he was dog shit last year. But then again, in spring, you got to take it with a grain of salt when you're pitching to AA players, right?
Right. Yes, a good spring. It's better than having a bad spring, but I'm not all of a sudden back in on UC Kikuchi. We should get Hyunjin Ryu. People forget we still have him. He's probably not going to be back till mid-season. I believe he's coming off Tommy John surgery. But still, it's the back end of the rotation that gives me concern, Joe. Manoah and Gausman are going to be fine. Yeah, Bassett's fine. Hopefully. Kikuchi was terrible last year. Absolutely terrible. So,
yeah,
if they can get some kind of consistency from the back end of the rotation, I think they're actually going to be the cream of the crop in the American League. But I think that's a big if. So that's the number one thing I'm looking at. Also, their bullpen improved a little bit. I kind of like their acquisition of Chad Green, but still not the strongest bullpen in the AL either. So obviously, you could arguably say they have the best offense in Major League Baseball, but it's the pitching, it's the back end of the rotation, it's the bullpen depth. If something's going to kill us, it's going to be that.
Yeah, Jose Barrios has to at least be above average for them this season. He got rocked on so many different occasions last year. You can't trust him in a big spot. You want Jose Barrios going out there in a playoff series?
I do not.
Yeah, the Blue Jays, they probably have to be a player at the deadline for some type of guy, like a top 3 starter in the rotation. Manoah's a guy that talked a lot of shit. He came out in the playoffs. He did not look very good versus the Seattle Mariners, but he's still young. And I think that is a big point of this team, is that there's a lot of youth. A lot of these guys haven't even hit their prime yet. And this brings me to my favorite season-long bet for the Blue Jays coming into the 2023 season. I like Vladdy Jr. to lead the league in home runs, and you can get that at 11-1. I think that this is a great bet. A lot of reasons. First and foremost, the fences have been moved in at Rogers Center, so already a decent hitter's park. We could see it become the American League's answer to Coors Field in 2023. Changes highlighted by the wall in left field being moved in 7 feet. The wall in right center has been moved in 11 feet, and another wall in right center has been moved in 16 feet. And here's the thing to keep in mind with Vladdy Jr. He's just entering his prime. I think people forget how young this guy is because he's been around here for a couple seasons. He just turned 24 in March. He proved in 2021 when he hit 48 home runs that he is one of the top home run hitters in the game. And he's extremely durable. When you're making a bet like this, you want to make sure the guy doesn't have some crazy injury history. And Vladdy Jr. has missed just 3 total games in the last 2 seasons combined. Look at the guys ahead of him on this list. Aaron Judge misses a ton of time in his career. Mike Trout, he hasn't been healthy the past couple seasons. Kyle Schwarber, very inconsistent throughout his career. Vladdy Jr. has better odds than all those guys. I like him to lead the league in home runs, 11-1. So, Ian, what's your favorite Blue Jays season-long bet?
Yes, my favorite Blue Jays season-long bet. Let me just turn around here. You see it?
Ooh, I can see. I can read.
Bo Bichette. Over 170 hits. 170 and a half hits, I believe, is the number here. If we can bring up the graphic. Yes, 170 and a half for Bo Bichette. This is a guy who 2 years ago, he led the American League with 191 hits. Last year, he led the American League with 189 hits. And now, for some reason, the total set 20 hits below that at 170 and a half. The disrespect is unbelievable. This might be the best future bet you can place on the entire board, no matter what team, no matter what player. And let's expect some improvement from this guy as well. Joe, you're just talking about how young Vlad is. Bo Bichette, only a year older, 25 heading into this season. And he actually just turned 25 earlier this month on March 5th. Happy birthday to Bo Bichette. So he's going to get better. And also, don't forget, last year, he actually started the season off pretty slow. He only had a batting average of .213 in April. And he still managed to get 189 hits last season. In September and October, in his last 32 regular season games last year, he had a batting average of .406. I can't believe his hit total is only set at 170 and a half. And also, I mean, bigger bases this year. Does that mean more hits? I don't really know. Does it being like 6 inches closer to home plate mean more hits? Maybe not. Maybe a couple more hits. But to be honest, I just had to try to think of a third point to talk about. So regardless, Bo Bichette over 170 and a half hits. Love it.
Yeah, that seems to be a market that you can take advantage of. That Francisco Lindor one, which I gave out yesterday, that was shockingly low. It made no sense. Now, the big problem with these over bets in a 162-game season is if a guy spends a little bit of time on the DL, that could completely derail these bets. So you want to make sure the guy has no injury history, basically. So, yeah, that's our look at the 2023 Blue Jays. This time next week, we'll be doing baseball picks. And the show probably starts slow. The start of any regular season in any sport, you're always going off stats from the previous season and whatnot, but we're pretty pumped up for baseball season around here at Chasing That Paper. Okay, guys, let me tell you a little bit about the Vegas Insider app. It gives you all the major sports betting odds at your fingertips, along with picks and expert breakdowns. If you want more Vegas Insider content like our shows, videos, and podcasts, you can find it all on the app in the media section. Download the Vegas Insider app on Apple or Android. Bet better with the Vegas Insider app. All right. Just a reminder, guys, if you're on YouTube, hit up that comment section right down there. Let us know what bets you like for Friday night here. Let us know what bets you like for the weekend. Let us know what season-long Major League Baseball futures you like as well, because we want to know. So at the tail end of yesterday's show, Ian, we kicked around some TV talk, our favorite shows. We were talking Ted Lasso, The Return of Succession. We gave out our picks for our favorite shows of all time. And you threw to me something I want to follow up on today. You said you were surprised I didn't pick Entourage as my favorite show of all time. Now, were you being sarcastic when you said that? Did you actually enjoy the show, Entourage?
I was being a little bit sarcastic just because I know that you're a big Entourage fan. But no, I did enjoy it. And I mean, it's good for what it is. I watched it in college. I haven't watched it since, but it is what it is. Obviously, it's being sarcastic about the best show ever. It's obviously not that, but it is what it is.
So, yeah, I have some strong takes on Entourage here. It is probably one of my favorite shows of all time. It went seriously off the rails. They really got away from their roots. They probably went on for 3 seasons too long. Towards the end of it, Turtle has all of a sudden this big entrepreneur and has all these big-time athletes investing with them. E is having sex with Sloane's stepmother. Vince is marrying some. Yeah, it was ridiculous. They ran out of ideas. So if I could go back and fix Entourage, the same blueprint, I would keep that in place. I would keep all the same characters in place. Nothing wrong with any of the actors. But I think they started the story of Entourage too late. They started it when Vince was on the doorstep to superstardom, right? He was still on the come up, but I think they should have started the show earlier in
Ooh.
his come up when he was kind of just moved to Los Angeles. They often referred to a time where they were living at Johnny Drama's apartment. So if you can think of a prequel to where the series started, had they started the series there, I think they would have been a lot better off because that show was elite for 3 or 4 seasons. Then they started listening to all the critics. A lot of the criticism was, oh, things always work out for the boys on Entourage, and that was the fun part of the show. It was a nice, light show, but they listened to all that criticism, and then the show starts to go downhill. They turn Vince into a cokehead. Turtle loses the lovability that he had as kind of the overweight pothead type of guy. They came back with the movie, and they did go back to their roots a little bit. I think the movie was good. It wasn't great. It wasn't must watch. But yeah, if they could go back to do it, I think that would be a great way to do it. Now, I do think the blueprint of Entourage, another show with another industry, could follow that. We saw Ballers with The Rock do that a little bit. Didn't really follow an athlete; it followed the agency, I guess, of football agents or representation. Both shows had Mark Wahlberg as the executive producer. But I think it would be fun. You take that same blueprint, but you do it with an athlete coming out of college. His buddies, you often hear these stories. Maybe don't want to replicate the Ja Morant story, but these guys have incredible stories. I think it would be very fun if they did something like that for an NFL player or an NBA player. So, what do you think of that taking? Is that a show you would watch?
I love that idea. Let's take it to the studios, Joe. We can star in it. You got the acting chops for that?
Yeah, I've done some background work in a couple of movies. They they shoot a lot of shows, movies here in Nova Scotia, and I've been in a number of them. And something's going on there. But yeah, I've done some background work. I haven't had any lines in anything, but yeah, I think it's time for my acting career to jump in.
I'll take over the role of Turtle, the Turtle-esque character.
Well, you are a definite pothead, so you got that down.
I was once upon a time. I get back into that for the role.
But we switch it up a little bit. Instead of weed, you just drop acid all the time.
Yes. Great idea. Yeah. Let's take it to the studios. I think they'd go for it. Someone get Mark Wahlberg on the phone.
Yeah, Marky Mark. And the Funky Bunch. Wahlberg. All right, guys. It is now time for today's Handicapper Heat Check presented by VegasInsider.com, your home for the best expert picks in the business since 1997. Stephen Over is dominating the books, going 16-5 across all sports in the last 3 days, including 5-0 in the NBA. Colin Hunter won again last night, bringing his college hoops run to 13-1 in his last 14 picks. Brian Edwards, a perfect night in college, 5-0 last night. Visit VegasInsider.com/picks for tournament top plays and NBA best bets. That's your handicapper heat check. Stay hot, betters. Now, Ian, what I will say is I'm going out to the movie Creed 3 on Sunday. Have you seen it yet?
I haven't seen any Creed movie. I have no interest.
You don't get out much. You're not much of a film buff, are you?
No, I don't watch a lot of movies or really a lot of shows. But also in general, if I wouldn't watch the Creed movies. I have no interest. It's just the Rocky movies all over again. How about come up with an original idea? How about that? How about come up with an original movie? Stop remaking stuff.
It's a spinoff, and it is interesting. Now I'm disappointed. Spoiler alert: I haven't seen it yet, but Rocky's not in Creed 3, which really kind of turns me off. That doesn't make a whole lot of sense, but there's a lot of callbacks to the Rocky movies. I thought the Creed 2, when they brought in Drago's son, I thought that was pretty cool. So let me give the people a tip for if you're going to see a movie in the theater. I know we took a couple of years off from going to see movies in the theaters because of COVID or whatnot, but you are an absolute maniac if you are going to the movie theater to see a movie on the opening weekend. That is an awful way to experience a movie. Going to a jam-packed theater, you're not going to watch a fucking hockey game. You're going to watch a movie. You want to be able to pay attention. You want to be able to lock in. You go to a movie here in 2023, you got a bunch of assholes on their phone throughout the movie. You wait for a movie. Creed 3's been out for what, a month now? I'm going at noon on Sunday.
Oh,
it's going to be me,
Joe.
my wife, and probably 5 fucking people in that theater. What's wrong with that?
There's nothing more depressing. There's nothing more depressing than a matinee movie.
Matinees are awesome. How fucked up are you? Matinees are relaxing. Oh my God, are you out of your mind?
You get out of the movie theater and it's still light out? There's nothing more depressing than leaving the movie theater and it's like 2:00 in the afternoon. A movie should be the last thing you do. A movie should be the last thing you do in the day. Like, how do you get back to having a productive day after watching a movie and getting out at 2:00? You just ate a ton of popcorn, you ate candy, your eyes are sore from staring at the movie screen, and then you come out and it's daylight and you're just like, oh, I have to go about my day? That's
exactly. And you talk about the movie, you go have a nice meal afterwards.
No, that's insane.
You are out of your mind. I've been going to matinees since I was a kid.
Matinees should be illegal. They should be illegal.
That is one of your worst takes of all time. Producer Tito agrees. Super wrong. But yeah, take my advice. Don't go to a movie on opening weekend. I've had so many bad. We used to go to a movie on opening weekend. Some asshole kicking your seat. You can't even enjoy the movie for God's sakes. Wait for it to be out like a month and go to a matinee. Is the way to do it. You got energy. You're not tired driving. You were nuts. I think it's awesome when you come out from the movie and it's daylight.
No,
outside. All right. Well, I don't know if you want to take any advice from Ian at all after that take from him. But Ian, you got a bunch of content out there that Chasing That Paper viewers can check out here. Tell us a little bit about it.
Not really, to be honest, actually. This is my weekend, so I actually don't have really too much out. The Bacon Bets podcast. I mean, I gave you 3 of my Sweet 16 game picks for today. If you want my 4th, you can go watch or listen to the latest episode of the Bacon Bets podcast. Other than that, I tweeted out my match play picks for today for golf. If you want to check out that tweet.
How about plug your Twitter account? Let's do that because you're not being very convincing with that. I suppose if you want to go over and look at this. What's your Twitter? How can we follow you on Twitter, Ian?
Yeah, it's right there on the screen at Iain MacBets. Ian 2 I's, IAIN MacBets. Follow me on there. Go subscribe to the Bacon Bets podcast YouTube channel as well.
All right, Ian. So you're not going out to a matinee this weekend. Anything exciting going on in New York City here or what?
Well, it's my girlfriend's birthday, so happy birthday to her. We are going to go on a wine bar crawl today. And I'm going to go see Billy Joel on Sunday night. How about that?
Do you have a picture of your girlfriend that you're willing to share on screen right now?
Absolutely not.
That pay-per-view? Oh, okay.
Absolutely not.
Billy Joel, that'll be a good show at Madison Square Garden. Probably not a cheap ticket, but yeah, that would be a fun concert. So, yeah, now if Billy Joel was playing in the afternoon, would you go see that?
No, that's insane. Although I would in the afternoon if it was an outside concert, if it was like if it was like in Central Park or just somewhere outdoors. Outdoor concert in the middle of the day makes sense. But I have an issue going into like a movie theater or a stadium, somewhere it's going to be dark and your eyes get used to the dark, and then you come out and you're like, ugh, and you're just blinded by the sun. That's where my issue lies.
Maybe you got to go to an eye doctor or something. I don't think most people have that problem. You ever hear of sunglasses, Ian? Oh. That's your biggest problem is pick up a pair of sunglasses. I'm sure you could go buy a pair in the street corner there in New York for $5.
It's not just the brightness, it's the vibes, because you're going from a nighttime situation back into the daylight. It's very jarring.
That ruined the movie viewing experience for you. Most people be in there enjoying the matinee. All Ian would be thinking about would be the aftermath of walking out to the brightness of the sun.
Yes.
Okay. To each their own, I suppose. We'll leave it at that for today. We thank Ian once again for joining us. We thank you, dear viewer, for checking us out once again. And yeah, best of luck with your bets tonight and this weekend, unless, of course, you are fading us. And as always, keep chasing that paper. Go Blue Jays! Woo! Yeah!